Team's playing marvelously. I'm enjoying watching the band play. By the way, I'm over in the stands, and the stands are acting just as they should. We're having a great spirit up here. Wish everybody in Andalusia could be here tonight. Well, they're not here, and I don't know how many are left at home because there's a big crowd in there. There certainly is. I found out something new about Andalusia. I've had people to tell me about the spirit of this town. I've been around Andalusia about a year and a half now. I've come to believe they really support a football team and community activities. It's a great city, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Well, we thank you very much, Brother Foster, for coming up and being with us. We appreciate your comments. And I know you're watching some of your boys out there tonight, aren't you? Yes, sir. We have several of our fellows, of course, play on the team, and a good many of the kids in the band. And, of course, most all of these kids are involved somewhere in a church in Andalusia, and we're grateful for that. They demonstrated great sportsmanship tonight. I believe we've had only one penalty against our team, and they are playing just fine ball, and they're playing it in a fine way. We're grateful. Well, fine. Thank you very much for those comments. We have someone else now that we want to talk to, a couple of other fellows. You have somebody, Jim?
Yes, Chuck. We have the assistant principal coming over to talk with us, along with a couple of other distinguished gentlemen. We have a couple of probate judges here tonight, whether we need them or not. And they're coming on over.
While we're waiting on them to come over, and you go over and get lined up, I'd like to talk to another fellow that's an interesting individual from this great city of Andalusia who's been responsible to a great extent for the athletic program here at Andalusia High. And his name is Dr. Richardson, I believe.
Well, I don't know what my name is right now. It's been a great game so far, and we're real pleased to be in the finals again, and we feel like that it's nice to go out of the halftime 7-0 ahead. This team has a record of scoring better than 40 points, and we felt like if we could keep them down to a few points, we had a good chance of winning. I feel real optimistic at this point. We came up, football team came up Thursday morning. We drove up, stayed in Oxford, practiced on the Oxford High School field Thursday afternoon. It's just been a real pleasure because the behavior of the students have been outstanding. I've made many, many trips with high school students, and this one has just been the greatest. Students have cooperated, they've been well behaved, everything's gone on schedule. We can win this ball game, then it'll cap off a perfect weekend for me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richardson. And now Jim Kent has someone he's going to talk to.
All right, thank you, Chuck. And with me, a very distinguished gentleman from Covington County who is no stranger, and this is our probate judge, Mr. Leland Anderson.
And, sir, Jim, yes, sir, we're glad. We appreciate that, and I want to introduce to the people of Covington County my good friend and fellow probate judge from Calhoun County, Judge Arthur Murray. Arthur, say a word to the people of my county.
Thank you, Judge Andrew. I'd just like to say to the people back in Covington County that I'm very impressed with the football team that they set up here to play in our county, and also you got a mighty fine band there doing a wonderful job here. It's been a wonderful game, and I'm sure the people back home are real proud of people they set up here, and they should be. We're just very fortunate to have them in our county. Thank you, Judge.
Arthur, we appreciate Calhoun County. We're glad to be here, and may the best team win.
All right, thank you, sir. It's becoming about halftime, and y'all can haggle over who's going to win the game. We want to inject something, Coach. Coach Gilmore?
Gilmore, yeah.
It will be Saturday morning. Coaches come tomorrow morning. An interesting note that Coach Sharp made to us Tuesday night. It was off the record after the quarterback club meeting. Was that on the road in the last 8 years, only 4 teams in all 4 classes have won the state championship game.
Well, we're going to break that tonight.
We certainly hope so.
Change. You know, I'm sure that a lot of people waiting there for the statistics, and we have a fellow that has followed the Andalusia Bulldogs, has been very patient, been very cooperative, and he's done an excellent job, and we appreciate him working with us. And Brent Locklear, would you take over now and give us the stats for this first half?
All right, thanks very much, Chuck. For the Bulldogs in the first half, they had 4 first downs. They rushed the ball 18 times for a total of 70 yards. They did not have any passing yardage. The Andalusia quarterbacks were over 2 in the passing department. They punted the ball 3 times for a 32.3-yard average. They did not have any return yards. They had 1 penalty for 15 yards. Unofficially, in the individual rushing department, they have Eddie Sam Anderson leading the Bulldogs. He carried 9 times for 38 yards. Roy Van Dorsen carried 2 times for 16 yards. Mark Blackwell, Ronnie Blair, all of them having super games on the defensive front. Ronnie Blair has a fumble recovery, and of course
Andalusia's first touchdown drive. That was a 46-yard drive in 10 plays, capped off by Eddie Henderson's 4-yard run. Leon Hadaway added the kick at 9:49 in the second quarter for the only score of the half. It was Andalusia 7, Walter Wellborn nothing. And now, with Walter Wellborn's statistics, is Dale Mitchell. Dale? Thank you, Brent. For the Walter Wellborn Panthers tonight, they gained 81 yards on the ground on 21 plays. They attempted 5 passes, completing 1, which was their last attempt at the half, and that was a screen pass that went for 2 yards. So they've got 2 yards through the air on the 5 attempts. They've got a total offense of 83 yards on 26 plays. They picked up 3 first downs. 2 of those came about midway through the second quarter or late in the second quarter after Andalusia had scored, and the other one was on the first drive in the first half. They punted 3 times for a 17.6-yard average. The reason their average is so low is because they had 1 punt blocked for -3 yards, and another punt went for only 14 yards, and the long one was for 42 yards. They've been penalized twice for 10 yards. Both of the penalties were for delay of game. They've lost 1 fumble, and they're trailing here at the half, 7-0. Okay, Dale. Chuck?
Thank you very much. We appreciate those comments, and we appreciate those stats. And you fellows have done an excellent job, and we appreciate that, not only for this game, but for all season. Right now, before we get back to some of the other comments that's going to be available to us from our good friend Jim Kent, you might be wondering why there's an excessive amount of noise in our broadcast booth. Well, I tell you, the people here at Anderson in the Walter Wellborn Stadium have provided some excellent facilities. The room is long, and it's spacious, and it's glassed in. We're not suffering from any cold whatsoever. The only thing that's bothering us a little bit, and it may be bothering in our background, is some of the crowd that has come in here. Now, there's a lot of people in this booth, isn't it, Jim?
Well, a lot of them are. They're dignitaries and people who are trying to help out, attend the gates, and collect monies and do other things. Chuck, it's been a very busy night for a lot of people, and I just can't believe this crowd. There are people everywhere. And
they started at 4.
4 o'clock, people started coming in here to get a seat for this ball game. And this is a very competitive football country up in this part of Alabama. In Calhoun County, there are 13 schools. 6 of them are Class 3A, and there's a very strong inter-county rivalry between all of these Class 3A schools, and Walter Wellborn being one of those. And they went undefeated all through their regular season, scored over 40 points a game during the regular season, and that's indicative of what the Bulldog defense has done so far in the first half. They have held the Panthers to no points, and they were able to put 7 on the board. And that carry was by Eddie Henderson. Recapping, well, here's the stats for you. First downs, very close. Andalusia 4, Walter Wellborn 3. The Bulldogs carried the ball 18 times for 70 yards rushing. Walter Wellborn 21 for 81 yards. Andalusia completed no passes. Walter Wellborn 2. And total yardage was 70 yards for Andalusia, 83 for the Panthers of Walter Wellborn. And Walter Wellborn lost a fumble. The Bulldogs have not lost a fumble yet, so the kicking game and turnovers was a decisive factor there in the first half. The Bulldogs punted 3 times for a 32.3 average, and the Panthers punted 3 times for 17.6 yards a punt, so it's quite a bit of difference there. So that's the way it sums up here at halftime, Chuck. The Bulldogs lead 7-0, a very exciting ball game, and the second half should even prove to be more exciting.
I agree with that very much, and I'll tell you one thing. Both of the bands, the Andalusia High Bulldog Band and the Panther Band here, have put on an excellent halftime show, and they've really thrilled this crowd because they've done a tremendous job, and they're to be commended for their activity. And I think it's also proper to tell you that the band parents of the Bulldog Band members have just been tremendous all year long, and they've supported, and the people have supported. The quarterback club has given a great deal of support and they continue to do so. And I believe I was told at the last meeting on Tuesday night there was one of the second largest classes there, I think the largest number of people, 124. Well, you're listening to the halftime festivities here at the Kansas Stadium in Anderson, Alabama. And this portion of our program is a presentation of RJ's. And as we told you, throughout the month, you've been hearing a lot about this going out of business sale at RJ's, and they're located in Conquest Plaza. And that's just off of Church Street and convenient catty corner across from the Commercial Bank. So I'm sure it'll be easy for you to find. And they've got, right now, there was a question earlier whether or not they were going to continue the sale, but Rhoda says there's just too much to just let go, and she's going to mark it down some more, and that's what she's done. And it gives us the opportunity tonight to just to tell you that if there was ever an opportunity for you to really get some excellent gifts for gift giving, you need to go by RJ's because they have really got some nice buys, not only price-wise, but in the quality of the materials. And art materials, craft materials, frames, that's just a tremendous number of things. I noticed they had some tinware dishes that I hadn't seen in a long time. And just things like that would make an excellent gift. So you might want to be sure and go by RJ's first thing tomorrow because, after all, with just a surge of people in there, it's not going to take long for those items to be gone. One thing, Jim, I wanted to mention that we hadn't told the listening audience about. We cannot compliment these people for the generosity and the help that they've offered us in helping us in setting up the broadcast. And just to give you an idea of some of the spirit behind this team, we were advised that the athletic club of Wellborn have already made a decision. The announcement will be here tonight. They're going to send the entire squad of Panthers to the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. Isn't that great?
That is great, Chuck, and it's nice to see the people in town get behind a football team who has worked so hard, as both of these teams have all year. And another thing, Chuck, there are a lot of people going unnoticed that deserve a lot of gratitude and appreciation. These are the bands for both schools, and I believe I've just heard two of the finest high school marching bands I've ever heard. And a lot of color with the color guard, the majorettes, and just a beautiful display going on the field now by Walter Wellborn. Andalusia was the guest. They had the first appearance at halftime. They did a tremendous job, and just two of the finest bands I've heard. And another thing, we should send our gratitude and thanks out to the cheerleaders of both teams. These girls, they sort of like mailmen. Rain, shine, sleet, snow, they're there. And they're cheering the team on, trying to get the fans all fired up, and they deserve a lot of thanks for their job throughout the year. The coaches, well, they instill a lot in the boys, and Coach Sharp, one of the finest individuals I've had the opportunity to meet, and he's done a good job with these Bulldogs tonight. They're out there playing their hearts out.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that Donnie Sharp has always said, it's just not me, it's my staff, and he gives credit to them. Well, I want to tell you now, this halftime activities has been a presentation of RJ's. And right now we want to take this opportunity and this may be the last opportunity we'll have to tell on the air our gracious thanks to the sponsors who've made possible the games throughout the season. And you know who they are, and we're going to tell you about two of them right now.
There are a lot of ways to save, but only one way that's really easy, and that is the Commercial Bank's Christmas Club way. You get the 5% interest compounded daily for completed accounts through coupon, payroll deduction, automatic transfer. And it's time now for you to begin yours. The last day is the 31st of December. The open house we've been telling you about is going to happen and slated for the 16th of December. Prizes galore. Remember the date is December the 16th at the Commercial Bank for open house. The Commercial Bank, member FDIC, Andalusia.
The messages by two of our sponsors, and we certainly appreciate their cooperation, and they've certainly been cooperative. And if you have the opportunity yourself, won't you please remember these and just let them know. Oftentimes, we take for granted, oh, well, the bank can bring it to you because they got lots of money, but they have expenditures, they're budgeted, and we just want to thank the commercial bank for their cooperation and being a part of the presentation of the Bulldog game. And, if you haven't been around to see Woody over at the Andalusia Hardware Company, we want you to go to see him and just say, hey, what do you think? And he's been very cooperative, and he's been just supportive of the Bulldogs all year long. And he's just one of the fine sponsors that we are mentioning tonight. Of course, you haven't been up to see Tony at the Greenbow Wrestling. We want you to be sure to do that. Tony's from Chicago, but I tell you, every day that he's there, he's getting to be more like a good Southerner. And he's throwing down in his speech, and he's cooking good food. He may even wind up cooking college for folks if you just go up there. You just ask Tony about it. Maybe he'll fix you up. We don't want to leave out some of the others. One of the ones we certainly want to mention is First Federal Savings and Loan Association. They've been gracious throughout the whole season and stood by us and helped us in every way, and they've been cooperative 100%. This is all about Central Health. And of course, during these playoff games, we've got a couple of them. We want to thank one of our councilmen who has Price Oil Company. Fred has come through, and he supports the team 100%. In fact, he may even be up here tonight, and I hope that he is. One of our fine automobile dealers there is M.L. Moore. Lamar has so graciously come to the support of the Bulldogs and helping make possible this long-distance broadcast, as I say so, for tonight's game. Well, we got about a minute. We're going to go back because there are a couple more people we want you to hear from, and so we'll be back in about 60 seconds.
Concrete acrylic latex house paint is the absolute ultimate protection for the exterior of your home. Whether wood or hardboard siding, shingle or shake siding, masonry, brick, asbestos, or even asphalt shingle, Velcrete latex house paint gives outstanding durability on aluminum and galvanized metal. Velcrete latex.
And number 46, in on the stop, Ronnie Blair. So it's going to bring up a 2nd and 7 as the Panthers are in Bulldog territory. Ball resting on about the 22-yard line. Wide man. Pitch back to Kilgore. Kilgore going wide. And he's going to find a little running room down there, down to about the 18-yard line. And there's a Bulldog slow on getting up. He made the hit. And that's Benson, number 44, Calvin Grace was the one who made the initial stop. He was slow getting up. It was Benson and Grace over there on the far side. 3 and 2. 3rd and 2 for the Panthers. Ball on the 17-yard line. Slot right. Handoff to Montgomery over the middle off left tackle. Finds no running room. Hit over there by C.B. Landrum and Lee Perry, and Tim Nall coming up from his linebacker spot to make the stop. So it's going to bring up a 4th down. I don't think the clock's right. 4th down and 1 yard. And we'll see if they go for it, which I'm sure they will this far down into Bulldog territory. And I think there's going to be a timeout call. The Panthers will call timeout. 8:44 remaining in the 3rd period with your score, the Bulldogs 7, the Panthers nothing.
The way to earn extra savings interest with First Federal in Andalusia is with First Federal's Extra Quarterly Income Plan. A great way to earn extra income while your principal remains the same until you decide to use it. Ask about First Federal's Extra Quarterly Income Plan. And remember, too, First Federal Savings and Loan will be happy to discuss with you your needs for a home loan. You'll always find a friendly welcome at First Federal Savings and Loan in Andalusia. Savings placed by the 10th, earn from the 1st.
Timeout. Miller over to talk with Coach Johnny Ingram and to see what little bit of strategy they can come up with. They need a 1st down real bad down deep in Panthers and Bulldog territory. They're down to the 16-yard line. They'd like a yard to go. Number 20 goes wide to the right. Slot man is Britton. Barking signals is Miller. Miller hands off, and I don't think it's the keeper. Look at Russell that one. And Miller just faked everybody out, and he handed off to number 10. English came around from the split end position to take the reverse. And Gary Odom made the stop and saved that one, but he faked everybody out in the center of that line. He got it down to the 5-yard line, but Gary Odom pushed him out of bounds. He even fooled me. Looked like he had the ball straight off to Montgomery. They said English wide to the left, putting in the slot to the left. Pitchback goes to Kilgore. Beautiful defensive play. Shooting through there was number, you can hear that up here, 85 for the Dogs. 65. Doug Collins playing a terrific game there. He came through, read the defense very well, and made the stop. Dropped him for about a 4-yard loss. Coming out is number 25, Britton. They send number 20 wide. We'll pick up his name in a minute. And there's Miller on the offense, going off tackle, and he's back to about a yard shy of the original line of scrimmage, where it's going to bring up, I believe, a 4th down situation. The 3rd down. Be 3rd and 7. Just about 3rd and goal to go.
We need that Bulldog defense now like they did at Atmore on that 1-foot line.
We certainly do. And let's see if we can pick up number 20's name for the Panthers. And that's Porter. Okay. They send Porter wide right. There's Miller looking to throw. Overthrows it in the end zone. Number 15, Gary Odom for the Dogs over there. Good defensive effort. We'll bring up a 4th. And 7 yards to go for the Panthers on the 6-yard line. Good defensive work by the Bulldogs.
Well, you had Tim Nall as well as...
Tim Nall was also over there. They're playing a zone formation in the backfield. They just shifted with the movement of the backfield. Had a man over there, Gary Odom, to make the save. Out comes number 22.
Kilgore.
That's Kilgore.
4 and 7.
Okay, 4th and 7. Miller looking over the middle. And almost intercepted, but knocked away by number 68. Rather, that was 88, Mark Blackwell from his linebacker spot. Blackwell almost picked it off, but he realized he didn't want to catch it down on the end zone. So the Bulldogs will take over. Tremendous defensive effort. And they started a drive, a long drive for the Panthers. So the offense will take over. Breaking the offense will be Short, your quarterback. Full house backfield. Handoff goes to number 40, Henderson. Let's see, there was a fumble, but let's see. I picked up it up. Doug Collins recovered the fumble for the Bulldogs. Number 40, Eddie Henderson, into the backfield.
About 6 yards.
And he gained 6, going to bring up a 2nd down. 4 yards to go. Ball resting on the 13-yard line. Full house backfield. Handoff goes to Joe Ball. That ball hit by a host of Panthers.
Correction, that was not ball, that was Henderson.
Henderson on the carry. Number 40. Number 20 handled the stop. Deandra Porter for the Panthers.
The ball blocked for him. He did an excellent job.
Ball blocking, leading the interference. Going to bring up a 1st down and 10 yards. Good carry by Henderson. Ball resting on the 18-yard line. Short, your quarterback. Barking signals. Full house backfield. Hands off over the middle. And I think they're working Henderson again over the middle. We'll have to see when he comes up. Number 32, Ball on the carry, rather. And the stop was made by a host of Panthers. Good blocking on the right side of that line by Leslie Little, the right guard, and Denny Merritt. Of course, Denny, one of the finest centers around the state of Alabama. Short, your quarterback, barking signals. Hand off to Henderson. Henderson going to the left side, and he is dumped. And he is hit hard by number 44, Gray Curry. Ray Curry there to make the initial stop, and he dumped him.
He lowered the boom on him. You know, did you notice that he just kept going and his feet got up in the air?
But Henderson got up, and he's back in the ball game. Coach Sharp talking about how these Bulldogs have just toughened themselves throughout the year, have a very high tolerance to pain. A couple of them played with broken fingers or were never splinted. Just a lot of intestinal fortitude. Full house backfield. Everybody in. Short. Hands off the ball. Ball to the left side. Couldn't find any running room. Hit over there by the whole right side of that defensive line. Danny Clevenger. Jerome Brown. Brown on the initial stop. It's going to bring up a fourth down for the Bulldogs. We'll wait to see if he picked up any yardage. Fourth down, 3 yards to go. They're going to punt. Punting will be Hadaway. There's the snap. The rush is on. He gets a good kick away. Another beautiful punt. And let's see, it's going to be taken by Kilgore. And he's going to find some running room. And he's going to be sacked by number 36, Tim Nall. Nall on the stop, but a good run back. Gets it back shy of the 50-yard line. They're going to place it down around the 47. Vincent also in on the stop, number 45. Lee Perry there. But the initial effort, Nall just came towards him and threw a body block on him and dumped him. They send English wide to the right, put Britton in the slot. Barking signal to the quarterback, Miller. Miller's handoff off tackle. And he's stopped by Mark Blackwell coming up from the linebacker spot to make the stop. So it's going to bring up a second down situation for the Panthers of Walter Wellborn, who are trailing 0-7 at this time. Second and 8. 3:26. The clock is running. They send Kilgore wide to the right. Britton in the slot. There's Miller, hand off the second man through over the middle, finds no running room. Number 45, Ricky Vincent in there. Tim Nall, number 36. Number 46 in there. And let's pick up number 46 into the ball game defensively for the Dogs. And that's Ronnie Blair. Blair, I have him. There he is. Okay. English going out wide to the right, wide side of the field to the right now. If you're looking at your radio, the Panthers are on the move to your left. Slot man is Britton. There's the pitch back to, Britton on the pitch back from the tailback slot. He finds some running room around the right end. And a pickup maybe 5 yards. And he's driven out on the far side by number 71, Rockford Hutchins. Good pursuit. Number 45, Benson. Blackwell over there to push him out. So it's going to bring up a fourth down and 1. And so let's see. I think the punting team is going on. Out comes English. We'll have to wait and see what they're going to do. I think they're going to punt.
I think that displeases the crowd. Of
course, the crowd wants him to go for it, but I'm sure Johnny Ingram knows what he's doing this early in the second half. He doesn't want to give up good field position from where he is, and he knows that dog defense is tough. Miller will do the punting. Awful long. They're trying to pull the Dogs offside. They're going to get a 5-yard penalty, and there it comes. Good defense by the Dogs. They knew they were trying to draw them off, and they couldn't do it, so they're going to take the 5 yards and back up and punt it. 5 yards in this position won't hurt them a whole lot.
You know, that's a trick that Donnie Sharp tries occasionally. He says, we're going to try it. He says, you know, I got something up my sleeve.
Well, you could tell after the first few seconds that they were trying to draw the Dogs' defense off. So Miller will drop back 5 more yards and punt from there. Ball will be right about the 50-yard line. Deep man is Henderson for the Dogs, along with number 15. There's the snap. He gets the punt off. It's going to be fielded, and they're going to call a fair catch. Gary Odom takes the kick. And so the ball will be placed down right at the 20-yard line, and from there it'll be the Dogs' 1st and 10. See if the Dogs can get their momentum going on their offense. Tremendous defensive effort by the Dogs. Of course, they've played good defense all year. As we said, they've given up 14 points in the last 3 playoff games. That's a little over 4 points a game, which is not bad. Okay, they send out wide to the right. Taylor. Barking signal is short. Short hands off to Henderson off the left side, and he's going to be stopped by one man. Mike Haynes. Haynes on the stop on the far side. And 4 seconds remaining, so that's going to end the third quarter. So we'll go ahead and do this with time out on the field. At the end of the third quarter, your score, the Bulldogs 7, the Panthers nothing.
When you're looking for the right place to take your family out to dinner, you'll be sure the food is really good and reasonably priced if you go to the Greenbrier restaurant. The Greenbrier overlooking beautiful Gant Lake. Service is excellent. The Greenbrier, a name you'll remember, and a place you'll return to because you like the food, the atmosphere, and the great service.
The natural place. Greenbrier Restaurant.
Okay, we're back. And starting the fourth and final period of play here in Andalusia. They're getting the clock back to 12 minutes. And the officials coming over to talk with Coach Johnny Ingram, making sure everything is all right. I'm not sure. We'll wait and see. They'll give us an indication of what the penalty was. They're talking to the Panthers. And I think they're just making sure everybody's ready. I don't think there was a penalty on the play. They're just checking to make sure it's start the fourth and final period. I think they were just checking to put it on the right yard marker. Everybody in tight, full house backfield, short barking signals. Handoff up the middle goes to number 36, Tim Nall on the carry. And he's met there by number 63, Danny Clevenger, along with Mike Haynes for the Panthers. Ball resting now on the 40-yard line. Going to be a second down, 7 yards to go. Denny Merritt over the ball. Short barking signal, slot man to the left. Handoff goes to ball off tackle. He finds a little running room where he's met there by number 6. That's Kenny Hamilton, along with number 69, Jerome Brown. So it's going to bring up a third down. 4 yards to go for the Bulldogs. Denny Merritt, one of the finest centers in Class 3A ball in the state of Alabama. And understand, Denny committed to Alabama. Okay, short your quarterback. He's barking signal. Slot man to the right is Henderson. Handoff goes to number 32, Ball on the carry, and let's see. He's good for the first down, gets it out to midfield. And he was stopped by number 63, Danny Clevenger for the Panthers. So it's going to be 1st and 10. The Dogs are on the move. If you're facing your radio, starting the fourth quarter, the Dogs are defending the goal to your right. They're moving to your left. The Panthers are defending the goal to your left. And of course, when they get offense, they'll be moving to your right. Trying to set the stage for you. Okay, this is the slot man wide left. Short on the option to the right, going to the wide side of the field. Pitch back to number 21, Dorsey. Dorsey dropped for a loss, and there's a flag on the field. They lose about 4, and we'll see what the penalty is for. Donnie Brook on the stop, number 78 for the Panthers. So we'll see what the penalty is going to be. I think it's against the Dogs. They're backing up. So we'll see what it is. It's probably a holding penalty. And they're going to mark it off. If it is, it'll be 15 long ones. And there they go, 5, 10. It is 15 of them. That's going to put them back deep.
Well, I believe this is the second 15-yard penalty they've had.
It's going to put them back about the 25-yard line.
That was a holding penalty, I believe, Jim.
It was a holding penalty against the Bulldogs. So it's going to bring up a long 1st and 25 for the Dogs. And we'll see what they do as they bring everybody out. Slot man to the right. Short your quarterback, barking signal. Handoff goes off tackle to, I think, Joe Ball, number 32, where he's met by the left side of that defensive line. Mike Hayes, your middle linebacker for the Panthers. So it's going to bring up a second down, 23 to go for the Bulldogs. Short your quarterback. They're still in the huddle. Out comes Merritt, number 53, your center. Number 28, Starnes, comes out wide left. In the backfield is Ball and Dorsey. Handoff goes to Ball off tackle. Doesn't find any running room on the right side of the line. And O'Brien on the stop along with Gray Curry. So it's going to bring up a third down, and still long yardage for the Dogs, and 22 yards to go. So Denny Merritt out of the ball. They send Starnes wide to the right. Ball resting on the 35-yard line. Quarterback is short. Handoff goes straight up the middle to Joe Ball, who finds no running room. Going to be hit by the entire middle of that Panther line, led by Mike Hayes, Mike O'Brien, and Danny Clevenger. So it's going to bring up a fourth down situation. Of course, a punting situation for the Dogs, and punting will be Hadaway. Going deep will be for the Panthers. I believe that's Britton back deep. There's the snap. Hadaway gets the punt away. Not as high as the last one. Going to be taken on about the 30-yard line. About a 4-yard run back where he's met by 3 or 4 Bulldogs.
That series of plays took about 3 minutes and 20 seconds, so they are eating up the clock. The Bulldogs are already.
Okay. As we get ready to go here on defense, the Bulldogs. 1st and 10. From the 38-yard line will be the Panthers. They bring number 22 out wide to the right. And there's the pitch back going to Britton. Britton not finding any running room on the far side, and he's going to be dumped back about the original line of scrimmage. And he's met there by number 61, Lee Perry, along with number 33 for the Panthers, or rather for the Bulldogs. And that's Bobby Smith, your roving linebacker.
He just couldn't turn that corner.
So it's going to bring up a 2nd and 9. They gave him 1 on the play. Here's Miller back to throw. Got a man deep, and he overthrows him. Nobody close. And the pass was intended for number 22 for the Panthers. End of the ball game. And that's Kilgore. Kilgore all alone down the right side. Miller just overthrew him. Closest man to him was number 44, Calvin Grace, but I think if he'd have caught the ball, they'd had Grace beat by a couple of 3 steps. So it's going to bring up a 3rd and long 9 for the Panthers. They send Porter wide in the slot, number 20. Wide to the left is English. There's Miller. Pitch back goes to Britton. Britton off tackle, finds no running room, and he read the play well. That's C.B. Landrum again in on the stop. Beautiful play. And he's assisted in there by Lee Perry. C.B. Landrum playing one heck of a ball game here tonight on defense.
Got about 7 more minutes, too.
7:11 remaining in the 4th and final period of play as the Panthers will be punting. Back to punt is Miller, number 3, number 44 for the Dogs back. And gets a good punt away. They're going to let it roll. And it's going to roll dead around the 5-4-3-yard line. Beautiful punt by Miller.
I don't know what the distance was on that, but he sure got a long one there, and they weren't expecting one that long.
Counting the roll, he got somewhere between 60 and 70 yards.
Wow. Well, that's about the first one they've had that fortunate.
They just didn't want to field it. So it rolled, took a good Panther bounce, and rolled towards the end zone. And back was number 44, Grace, for the Dogs. So from deep in their own territory on the 3, it'll be short, barking signals, everybody in. And he's going to head off to Henderson off right tackle, and he's not going to find any running room. Going to be hit by the entire left side of that defensive line. And that'll be Eddie Williamson. Or rather, it'll be Mike O'Brien and Donnie Brooks over there to make the stop.
Jim, did you notice the ball was leading away, and he was doing some great blocking there.
Just not finding any running room. This has turned out to be one fine defensive battle. So it's going to bring up a 2nd and 9. They gave him 1 on the carry. They send Starnes out wide to the right. Snap with barking signals. There's the snap. They're going to hand it off to Ball. Ball's going to find a little bit of running room up the middle where he's met by number 44, Greg Curry for the Panthers. He picked up about 2. It's going to give them a 3rd and 7, long 7 yards, deep in their own territory. And if they have to punt out from there, it's going to give the Panthers some good field position. But Short doesn't want to risk a pass this deep in his own territory. We'll see what he does. Barking signals. Handoff off tackle goes to Ball, and he doesn't find any running room. Hit again by the left side of that line.
Hey, you know, Jim, one of the things that Coach Sharp had told us is when we get into the 4th quarter, you better believe that this team is going to really be in a pinch. And he was talking about the Bulldogs, and they're ready to really go now.
Well, their defense is going to have to really suck it up and play ball right here because the Panthers are going to get good field position out of it. They're going to be in dog territory. Attaway back to punt in the end zone. There's a snap, no rush. They're going to call a fair catch, and he's going to take it on the 45-yard line where they'll put it into play right there. So from the 45, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Panthers. And here we go. We'll get down to the nitty-gritty. And, Chuck, it's just a possibility with the clock running down like it is. This could end up like it did against Athens.
Well, let's don't even hope for that. I think we're going to see more passing now by the Panthers.
All right, Miller, your quarterback, hands off to Montgomery on the left side. Finds no running room. Make that Britton. Britton move back to the tailback spot for the Panthers. Finds no running room. And stopping up the line was number 45, the nose guard, Ricky Vinson.
We might see a jarring tackle there that can produce a fumble for the Bulldogs to recover.
The defense keeps that in mind. They're taught to tackle that way and draw that ball loose. So Britton comes to the far side, to the right, and they're going to, let's see, the ball is in play. Slot man to the left. There's Miller. Pitch back to, there's the, they faked the reverse. The pitch back to English, and he picks up maybe 3-4 yards on the play. And the Panthers were trying desperately to call a timeout, but they'd already set at the line. It was too late. Britton was on the sideline, about 3 yards on the field, trying to call a timeout, and so he couldn't because he wasn't an eligible player, so he couldn't call a timeout. Has to be the captain of the team.
Looks like they're expecting the pass now.
They're sending English wide to the left. In the slot is Kilgore. Pitch back. There's a reverse. And there's English. And a beautiful play. The Bulldogs read it well. Doug Collins read it well along with Landrum. Landrum was in on the stop along with Tim Nall. What they did, they handed off to the slot back going left, and the split end. English took the ball, and I don't know, he looked downfield like he wanted to throw and saw he couldn't, so he started running, and that's when Tim Nall and Landrum came up to make the stop on him.
Well, what he did was really give him enough time to get in there.
4th and 8.
The Bulldogs needed.
4th and 8. Good defensive effort by the Dogs, but they're going to go for that 8. They need to get some points on the board. Miller, your quarterback, and he's dropping back to throw. Got a man open downfield. Intercepted! He's at the 15 to 25. He's going to be knocked out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. There's a flag down, though. There's a flag down on the far side of the field.
It could be a holding penalty.
Let's see. And we'll try and pick up who intercepted that pass. Gary Odom, number 15, picked it off, but let's see who the penalty is going to be against. Well, here comes English and everyone off the field, so apparently it's going to go against the Panthers, so the Dogs will take the ball. So they're going to mark it off. Well, they're going to put the ball down on the 10. Let's see. Clipping penalty will be assessed against the Bulldogs.
I believe that's their first clipping penalty.
It is, well, it's one of 2 or 3 penalties they've had all evening. It's been almost a penalty-free ball game. But the Bulldogs will take it over from the 12-yard line. Will be 1st and 10. Short, your quarterback. Hands off tackle to Ball. Ball over the left side, the right side of that line. Met by number 22, Kilgore, along with number 78 for the Panthers. And that's Donnie Brooks. Timeout called. 2:22 remaining in the 4th quarter. Your score, the Bulldogs 7, the Panthers nothing.
Oh, can we deliver an Oldsmobile to you?
The name M.L. Moore. You naturally associated with the fellows who sell Pontiacs and Oldsmobiles, GMC trucks. And you're right, M.L. Moore Motors on the Western Bypass is widely known for his fair dealings, reasonable prices, and outstanding service. When you think about trading for a new 78, make a beeline to M.L. Moore Motors. All the quality gas-saving features you want are available now in Pontiac, Olds, and GMC trucks.
At 7, they have the ball. It's going to be a 2nd and 8 situation down deep in their own territory. And Coach Sharp has a lot of confidence in his defense because I'm sure they're just going to keep the ball on the ground, hope they can beat out the first down and run that clock on down. They'll settle with a 7-0 ball game. Short, your quarterback, barking signals. Everybody in. And he's going to keep it over the right side. He's not going to find any running room, met by a host of Panthers over there. So we're going to try the best we can to keep you posted on the offensive action and see what the Bulldogs can do. But their defense has just played one mighty fine ball game. You just can't say enough about them.
That's true. You know, that play only consumed 3 seconds. The clock is stopped now with 2 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in the fourth and final quarter with a 7-0 ball game. This has been a great one, I'll tell you.
They gave Short a yard on the carry. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 7. And timeout on the field, but we're going to keep it here. We feel like we're going to be right back into action. And the officials over talking with the Panthers. 7-0 your score. 4th and final period.
Jim, it looks like that there's a protest with reference to the clock. And there's a conversation right now going on with the coaches.
It would seem, Chuck, that a play would consume more than 3 seconds, especially a running play. Now, if it had been a passing play, you could understand the ball was thrown incomplete or out of bounds. It would stop the clock. But there is over-talking with Coach Sharp. It is number 10, Short, and Coach Sharp talking with the officials. And I'm sure they will keep an eye on the clock here on out. But I'm sure the clock is also run by an official for the Alabama High School Athletic Association. So in the huddle, out comes Merritt over the ball. Denny Merritt, number 53, for the Dogs. Everybody in, full house, backfield, Short barking signals. Up the middle, straight up the middle, and finds a little running room. That's the first man through for the Dogs. And that's Joe Ball. And he's stopped by number 61, Mike Haynes. Mike Haynes, your middle linebacker, and he's played one fine ball game, but that's going to bring up a 4th down situation for the Dogs. Hadaway will be punting for the Dogs. Back on the midfield stripe is number 22, Kilgore. Here's the snap, the kick away, and it's going to be a high one. Defense is going to be down there. It's going to take a bounce and take a Panther bounce. Then it's going to roll back a yard or two, and it's going to be placed down at the, let's call it the 37, 38-yard line. And you can hear this Panther crowd. They're wanting something to happen. Now, we'll see some razzle-dazzle here, Chuck, with Coach Sharp says the Panthers did have some razzle-dazzle. And they'll do anything they can this late in the ball game to get on the board and tie this ball game up.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna go for it. They're going to try everything they can.
They bring Kilgore out wide in the slot to the right. Split both ends out. Pass over the middle. And it's blocked by Tim Nall, number 36. Almost intercepted. Beautiful play by Tim Nall. And it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 for the Panthers from the Bulldog 37-yard line. And they know they're going to be throwing. Here's Miller. He's dropping back in the pocket, looking downfield. And it's going to be thrown short, and it's going to be incomplete and out of bounds. And a good defensive effort on the far side, but number 15, Gary Odom, had his man covered all over. So it's going to bring up a 3rd down situation. Chuck, I think number 3, Miller's getting a little bit flustered. I don't think he's been in this position all year, and he just doesn't have the poise that he had earlier in the ball game. I've seen him several times look at the coach, hit his helmet, shake his head like, you know, what's going on.
I believe, Jim, that this is one thing that Coach Sharp told us about when you're against an opposing team. You watch that quarterback, and when you get frustrated, then you got to bear down on it. That's what I imagine they're going to do.
Okay, Miller barking signals. 2 ends, split out wide, looking back to throw, being rushed. And he throws on the run, incomplete, intended for Kilgore. Kilgore dove for it, just couldn't handle it. And Chuck, while they're bringing it back, that's Jerry Moore, rather, number 22, over there to cover for the Dogs. Number 22 for the Panthers is Kilgore. Okay, so it's going to bring up a 4th and 10. I think there's a timeout call, but we'll keep it here because everybody's standing. Both sides are standing. Chuck, I think one thing we might inject, something I saw when I went to talk to Coach Ingram, some of the boys were already wearing T-shirts that said Class 3A State Champ. A little bit of overconfidence might be in the air. Miller, your quarterback, 4th and 10, dropping back in the pocket. There's the rush on, going back deep, throws over the middle to Britton. Britton catches it, but it's about back to the original line of scrimmage, so they'll give up the ball there. Beautiful play by Tim Nall, Doug Collins. So the Panthers give up the ball. The Dogs will take over from about the original line of scrimmage. From there, it'll be 1st and 10. They're going to take it over on about the 36-yard line.
Jim, I believe that quarterback went back about 20 yards in order to try to get a pass off.
He did. He looks like he's lost. David, back at the station. It has been one exciting ball game, and I've been sitting on the edge of my chair trying to keep my composure and bring you the play-by-play the very best I could. Final score, the Andalusia Bulldogs 7, the Panthers nothing. A tremendous defensive effort by the entire defensive line and back for the Bulldogs. Terrific game for C.B. Landrum, Mark Blackwell, Timmy Knoll had a tremendous game, Ricky Benson played a tremendous game, Ronnie Blair. You just can't say enough. Calvin Grace was there when they needed him. The entire defense for the Dogs came through, and it was a defensive battle. And the only score of the ball game came on a run by number 40, Eddie Henderson, there in the first quarter. Went 3 quarters without a score, but both teams playing exceptionally well. And there's just not a whole lot you can say except Andalusia's defense came through for them like so many times they have before. And I know Coach Sharp is one happy man right now. Tying last year to Athens, and it's just, I know he's just simply elated, and he couldn't be prouder of any group of boys he's ever had.
I know you're right. And you know, I think it would be an excellent idea, even though the hour is going to be late. The team will be leaving here. In all probability, they will be getting home around 3:30, maybe to 4 o'clock. And it would be a tremendous way of expressing appreciation and gratitude, even at that hour of the morning, if you got out there and welcomed the Bulldogs home.
It would be great. They came up on chartered buses, and it would be nice if all the folks back home would make their plans to be there. It'll be around 3, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning before we all get back to Andalusia. But there's not a whole lot you can say except to recap these stats here in the second half. Was it anything but a defensive battle, and the stats show that, Chuck?
They surely do, and I tell you, before we do the wrap-up on the stats, I think it's deserving to hear from a couple of our sponsors. So we'll return to the station for these 2 messages and then give you the stats for the final part of this glorious night for the Bulldogs.
Change or start to turn, you know it's time for you to visit Andalusia Hardware, headquarters for hunters. Andalusia Hardware is a full-service hardware store, and that means they can fill your needs for pots, pans, tools, wire, chinaware, dishes, knives, forks, spoons, nuts, bolts, screws, and a lot of other things. The things they have seem limitless. You'll appreciate knowing the folks at Andalusia Hardware, 514 East 3 Knott Street in Andalusia.
During the excitement of the holiday season, you need to remember that December the 31st is the last day for the Commercial Bank's Christmas Club. There are 3 ways to have a Christmas Club account at the Commercial Bank: coupon, payroll deduction, and automatic transfer. Remember, the deadline for starting your Christmas Club account at the Commercial Bank is December 31st, and the Commercial Bank pays 5% interest compounded daily on completed accounts only. Don't forget, start your Christmas Club account now at the Commercial Bank in Andalusia, member FDIC.
All right, Jim, go ahead. Let's have the final stats for tonight.
Okay, the stats show it was just a defensive effort. Just a tremendous defensive effort on both teams. Andalusia had 9 first downs. Walter Wellborn had 6 first downs. The Bulldogs rushed 38 times for 136 yards. The Panthers 39 for 155. Andalusia did not pass. Had no passing yardage, rather. Walter Wellborn had 4 yards passing, gave them an offensive total of 159 yards, where Andalusia had 136 yards. Andalusia passed twice, completed 1. And
early in the game,
it was early. Walter Wellborn attempted 13 passes, completed 2, had 1 intercepted. Andalusia punted 6 times at a 34-yard average, and Walter Wellborn punted 5 times at a 28.2 average. You've got to remember that one of those punts went about 60 yards, which brought that average way up. It took a good Panther bounce and rolled down to about the 3-yard line, put the Bulldogs back deep in their territory. So Walter Wellborn's kicking game really hurt them tonight. And penalties, 3 penalties assessed by Andalusia for 45 yards. Walter Wellborn 3 penalties for 15 yards, and that shows you what a fine ball game it was. Very sportsmanlike conduct when you only have some 60 yards in penalties for the whole ball game.
Well, you know, Jim, one of the things that was said earlier, and I don't know why there's such a tremendous amount of publicity out on behalf and in favor of the Panthers, because they were talking about how aggressive they were and how well that they did, and the fact that they had 45 yards average on 43 or something in that vicinity against their opponent's average, which was considerably less.
I think the Panther defense was a little bit underrated, Chuck. I really do.
It was too.
Their offense was loaded. I really can't say anything except it was a Bulldog defense. I believe the Panthers have a great ball team. I really do. They have you can see it in a lot of their players. Harris Montgomery, Jeff Cunningham, number 25, Jeff Britton, 10, English, and they've got a big ball club. But I think their defense was very capable, too. They held the Bulldogs for 7 points, and those points came on a 44-yard drive there in the first quarter. So I think we had 2 very evenly matched teams. I think just 2 great football teams came out on a Friday night and gave it all they had.
Well, the South rose again.
Well, Coach Sharp is very happy, and he'll be looking to next year. He's got a little bit of rebuilding to do next year, I understand. And we'll be looking forward to coming back and doing the ball games with him.
About prospects for next year, and he indicates to us, and has all year, that the Bulldogs are going to have a very fine team next year. In all probability, we can look forward to a similar situation as existed this year.
Well, I'd love it.
They may not be as strong, but I think they're going to be a good team and they'll win a lot of ball games.
Well, you just don't know. It depends on what part of the season everybody gels and starts playing football together.
Well, Jim, I'll tell you now, everybody's just about vacated but us. We're fixing to pull it. We would like to express our appreciation to John Croft, who couldn't be with us. Hope he was listening, for the fine job he's done so far this year. And we appreciate the opportunity of working with Jim Kent tonight. And you'll be hearing more from Jim Kent as we get into some basketball, we hope. And we'll be looking forward to another season with the Bulldogs as they go on to victory. And it has been victory tonight. It's been a 7-zip ball game. And it indicated a great deal of praise for the defense, but I'll tell you, this Lex Short did a tremendous job in quarterbacking the team tonight. I think even though they didn't make a great deal of yards, that Lex Short did an excellent job as quarterback, and the offensive line did their job.
Well, the Panthers keyed on the fullback, Joe Ball, number 21, Roy Ben Dorsey. They keyed on those 2 ball players, and also Trent Taylor. Every time he went out on a pass pattern, they stayed on him, whether it was a pass or a run situation. The defense keyed the Bulldogs backfield. Eddie Henderson made the difference on offense tonight, coming off the bench.
Well, I don't know what more that we could add tonight except to say it's been a pleasure for us to be here. We appreciate the opportunity to come this distance to broadcast the championship ball game. Thanks to Jim for his excellent job. We'll be looking forward to saying thank you a lot to many of our sponsors. We thank you so much tonight for this privilege of being here. You've made it all possible. We want you to continue to stay tuned to WQHQ and WKYD, the stations that have you in mind for the programming that makes a lot of sense and we hope satisfies a lot of listeners. So from Panther Stadium here in Anniston, Alabama, this is Chuck Gilmore along with Jim Kent saying good night and God bless you.